Joining us now to analyze today's headlines is our news analyst Rahul Mahajan, a sociologist and author of Full Spectrum Dominance, U.S. Power in Iraq and Beyond. Hi, Rahul.
Hi, Sonali.
Now, Iraqi officials announced yesterday that the leader of the Islamic State militant group, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, has been injured in Anbar province. The U.S. has not yet confirmed the report. American airstrikes targeting ISIS-held regions escalated over the weekend since the stated expansion of the war by President Obama. But it was an Iraqi airstrike that apparently wounded the ISIS leader. Meanwhile, a group in Egypt called Ansar Beit al-Maqdis has pledged its allegiance to ISIS. A spokesperson for the Egyptian group announced in a recording that al-Baghdadi was, quote, chosen by God to establish a new Islamic caliphate after, quote, Muslims suffered decades of humiliation. Now, Rahul, does the wounding of al-Baghdadi simply add to the humiliation that these groups are motivated by? And doesn't the Egyptian group's allegiance prove that if you fight ISIS in this manner, you're only strengthening them?
Well, Sonali, that's a really tough question, actually, and I think the answer is mixed. If you look at it globally, you see, yes, in fact, a great deal of the United States strategy, which has mostly been of this kind, targeting and killing members of various groups, has been counterproductive. In particular, in Iraq, it's not just the killing, but also the if you look at the origins of ISIS, actually Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi and a number of other high officials actually got their start in Camp Bucca in Iraq, which is one of the several prison camps in Iraq where the United States processed tens of thousands of prisoners, and part of the global gulag the U.S. has created after 9/11. So, you know, they went in, they radicalized large numbers of people. They created the opportunity for such groups to form. They created a power vacuum, especially in Western Iraq, but really in the whole Middle East, that enabled them to grow. And so, yes, on the one hand, a lot of what they have done has led to this. On the other hand, at this point, you know, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is a very dangerous man, and ISIS is an extreme danger for the people of the region. So it's rather difficult to know what actually is a solution. With regard to other groups like Ansar Beit al-Maqdis and others that would be pledging allegiance to ISIS, I don't think it's primarily because they see them as being under threat or victimized by the U.S., but it is certainly the case that if they see them sort of holding the banner of resistance against the crusading United States, that is going to cause them to be more likely to join in.
And then anger in Mexico, fueled by the disappearance of 43 students in the state of Guerrero, continues to rise. As part of nationwide protests over the weekend, the doors of the National Palace in Mexico City were set ablaze. Protesters in Guerrero also expressed their ire by launching firebombs at government buildings and burning cars. The actions come just after 3 members of a gang confessed on Friday to killing the students and disposing their bodies in a landfill. Mexicans have also launched a firestorm on social media, posting tens of thousands of sarcastic tweets based on an off-the-cuff remark by Mexico's Attorney General to the press, "Enough, I'm tired." Twitter users furiously responded, saying they were tired of government corruption, mass graves, and more. The public anger represents the biggest challenge faced by President Enrique Peña Nieto. Well, Rahul, many people have been tortured and disappeared in Mexico, but this case seems to be the tipping point in Mexico. What do you think?
Well, it's really hard to know, Sonali, what's going to be a tipping point. For example, after 20 years of occupation of the West Bank, the first Intifada started with a car accident. In this case, you know, we've had 100,000 or so people killed in the Mexico drug war, but this incident really stands out egregiously for the phenomenal level of local corruption involved, the cooperation between the mayor and his wife and drug cartels, and the very brazen openness of the way that the killing was done. So if anything is likely to be a tipping point, or more likely than past incidents, it's this.
Finally, here in the United States, President Obama is set to make history once again with his nomination of New York federal prosecutor Loretta Lynch as U.S. Attorney General. Lynch, who is African-American, is best known for her work on the case of Abner Louima, a Haitian immigrant who was brutally raped while in police custody. If she is confirmed by the Senate, she would become the first black woman to be Attorney General and the second African-American following Eric Holder. On another front, Obama disappointed many progressives with his comments that he made today in support of a controversial trade deal, the Trans-Pacific Partnership. The president made the remarks during his trip to China, where he is attending the APEC forum. Now, Rahul, a GOP Senate will likely refuse to confirm Lynch, or at least put up a big fight, while embracing the TPP. How do you view Obama's actions?
Well, Obama has decided that in the last 2 years he's going to try to pass some more legislation, something he hasn't done in a long time. Instead of sort of trying to think outside the box and see what progressive measures he could accomplish, pushing hard on executive authority regarding climate change, for example, or perhaps even more important in the short term, trying to take advantage of the crisis in the Middle East to normalize relations with Iran after 35 years. These are things that he just can't imagine doing. He's going to go for a cheap win of pushing the kind of so-called free trade deal that used to be very common 10 or 15 years ago, although he should probably note that the Republicans may well hold it up unless he puts Jesus in it too, because just because they want it doesn't mean that they're going to support him in it.
Rahul Mahajan, always a pleasure to have you on. We'll talk to you again next week. Thanks for joining us.
See you then.
Rahul Mahajan is our daily Newsflash guest expert. He's a sociologist and author of Full Spectrum Dominance, U.S. Power and Iraq and Beyond. This is Uprising. We'll be right back.